What up, Buzz? You tapped in? Okay, Goose, you tapped in too? All right, Chicago, y'all tapped in? All right, boys, let's crack 'em. Feel like Mike in the fourth with the ball in my hands and I'm taking a shot. I'm the king in the madhouse on Madison, whether I make it or not. Now the crowd going crazy, they watching the play and I'm watching the clock. Got my shot in the air and the buzzer go off and I'm watching it drop. This team did things, MJ shot City 6 rings. D-Rose too big, too fast, too strong, history. And we good on that, put Jilla on the track and we good on wax. 3, 2, 1, everybody say Bulls on tap, Bulls on tap. Our city pretty and gritty, Benny the bull in the crowd getting hyper and litty. Me, I'm so drippy, it's slippery, nothing offends me. Banners on banners, we winners. We got the stats in the news, go and subscribe. Hang out with Buzzy and Goose, tapping with us, we the truth. Jilla just murdered the booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bulls on Tap, your last Bulls on Tap of 2023. Bulls lose to the Indiana Pacers, 120-104. Before we get into this, be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, at Bulls on Tap, at On Tap Sportsnet. Following Goose at Goose on Tap. Following me at Buzz on Tap. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. 5-star rating and review because that's cool and tough. Go to the YouTube, subscribe to it, follow the Twitter. We're almost at 2K. We're like a couple away, so you should do that if you get the chance because that would make our day, and that'd be very nice of you to fucking do. Okay, we're presented by Sports Illustrated Media Group. What's up, Goose? We didn't win. Funny. We didn't win today.
We did not win, but we did do better than expected because at one point in this game, I texted you and said, if we continue to get embarrassed, are we even recording tonight? And you said you're going on a vacation, so I better be ready to do this thing. So here we are. Luckily, the Bulls did at least make a game of this and take a lead of their own 93-90 in the fourth quarter with around 7 minutes left. Unfortunately, the Pacers are the highest scoring team in the NBA and went on a run of their own to kind of close this one out. And I guess the other positive would be Patrick Williams did have a rather good game.
Yeah.
Although Haliburton had close to like a historic level game with 20 assists and no turnovers tonight. Obviously, the big conversation when we talk about Pat is that, well, we could have had Haliburton because hindsight is beautiful. And I am somebody that is willing to admit that only do I have that opinion because of hindsight. Haliburton's shot scared the shit out of me coming out of the draft. And obviously, I was a fool for feeling that way. But
there's a couple guys who came in the league within the last few years that had broken jump shots or that appeared to be broken that were tweaked just a little bit and have turned into be great shooters. One of them was Lonzo Ball, which we have news about him that we'll touch on later. But yeah, no, Haliburton played a hell of a game, dude. First game since 2016. Adam Amin said that Chris Paul was the last person to have the 20-assist game with no turnovers. Haliburton does it tonight. He's unbelievable, dude. Stacey called him a superstar. I agree with Stacey King. He's a superstar. Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar. I look forward to why I'm not gonna lie to everybody. I hate that he's in the Central. I mean, I hate that for us. You have to see him 4 times a year, but he's fun to watch, man.
We already had Giannis. We already had Giannis. Why did the Pacers have to trade Sabonis for a guard that happened to be, like the best passer and shooter in the league? Like, well, this isn't fair.
It's really not. Kobe White struggles again tonight. 5 for 19 from the field, 16 points, 5 boards, 2 assists for him. Only turned the ball over 2 times. Finally hit his first threes, though. He hit 2 threes tonight, as I mentioned. Both of them came in the fourth.
And both of them were from about 30 feet out.
Right.
The first one was at the buzzer to break the streak. One of those just no think, let it fly kind of shouts with this 1 second left on the shot clock. So I guess another positive in a loss would be that Kobe White did break his cold streak, even if it did take to the fourth quarter and some desperation heaves to do so.
Well, sometimes those desperation heaves will get them, get the juice flowing. It'll motivate.
Oh yeah, obviously, I believe he took about 2 more following that. He did make one of those 2, and the other one he did at least look more confident. Not that he hasn't been looking confident in the shot. It's just one of those things where you got to see it go through the hoop, and once it starts clicking again, hopefully we can get Kobe back to where he was performing at, because without that, this Bulls team is going to continue to struggle the way they were before that fun stretch of basketball.
Yeah, it looks like that's on the horizon. Dalen Terry, plus 29, team high. Plus 29. There's only one other player. There's only one other player on the Bulls that was plus in the plus minus, and that was Terry Taylor. 14 minutes. He was plus 1. Dalen Terry plus 29. Dalen Terry takes these matchups with Mathurin very seriously. These guys are college teammates. I tell you what, he flexed twice. Dalen Terry flexed on them hoes twice tonight. Just hit him. I was like, damn. I'm telling you, I told you last game, I like that little cockiness out of him, man. If he could turn it into something, he'd become one of them high-energy guards off your bench. Okay, I can live with that.
You know, he did do his best David Nwaba, Shaq Harrison impersonation tonight. I will give you that, but unfortunately,
the jury's still out on Dalen Terry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna go from making jokes about Julian Phillips playing over him not getting any minutes at all, to getting overly excited. I'm glad that the energy was there in the 18 minutes that he played tonight. Like you said, he was a plus 29, and the Bulls' run did happen with him on the floor, and fell apart once he came off. So Dalen Terry was the little engine that could tonight for the Bulls in regards to giving them that boost to get some energy to get back into this game. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to come up with the win. But, you know, with Zach out, people are finding opportunities. Dalen Terry is falling into that category, and hopefully he continues to do so while they're there.
Oh, missing Zach and Torrey Craig have opened up doors for a couple guys.
Yep.
To break into the rotation and get a little bit more consistent minutes, which it's a good thing. You know, these guys get a lot better. With more time, but a lot of people were complaining tonight about Sanogo not getting any minutes and him being up here, and he just appearing last night.
It was at least a little curious to me, too, that Drummond played almost 40 minutes the previous game and then only played 21 tonight.
He was exhausted. He was.
You think he was exhausted? You don't think it was just matchup with Turner? Or
I think that has a lot to do with it. Did you watch Miles Turner moves a lot? You know what I mean? Like he's a very active big man. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or what, but I mean, Miles Turner 8 tonight, dude. Plus 30, he had 30.6 boards, but he did what he had.
He had a better plus minus than Dalen Terry. What are you talking about?
He did, man. He did.
That's unacceptable.
Game highs plus 32 from Hallie. All right, let's talk about some other shit. We lost. We know that some people look good. We know that some people look bad. Lonzo Ball news, man. What do you think? No pain in the knee. No pain in the knee for Lonzo Ball.
You know, Buzz, I'm not reading into anything. He's not playing basketball.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I mean, that is
more positive. Like we've touched on at this point with his story. It is more of just quality of life at this point too, which is kind of crazy to say when you're talking about an athlete that's making $20 million not to play their profession at this moment, which, given the fact that he's dedicated his whole entire life to his craft, is another hurdle in terms of a mental hurdle in itself, probably depression at the very least. So it's positive to get this news that he's finally able to do regular activities pain free. That is obviously the first step that he needs in order to get back to basketball activities and being comfortable on the floor, and even being a semblance of the player that he once was. So definitely a positive. But as a fan, after about 2 years, it's more of a happiness for Zoe than it is allowing myself to
buy into what it might be on the court.
Correct.
Yeah. So
I'm happy for him. I have no expectations or no hope in terms.
So the feel-good story is that he obviously opts into the player option because he's gonna, right? And he comes back next year and he plays and does well. That's I'm sure what the hope is for the organization and for him himself. I follow kind of along the lines that you do, depending on where our timeline is or whatever the hell, what we're watching, whatever this is, whatever they're trying to do. I don't see him return. I mean, he has been off of competitive basketball for 2 years. 2.5 years almost. I mean, he missed all of last season. He missed this season. He missed more than half the season before. I mean, it's going to take a long time to get back. So it's like a Brandon Roy thing, right? I mean, and hopefully it doesn't end like that for him.
Well,
Hopefully it ends better.
And with that name in mind, Brandon Roy did say that he could have played in the NBA as, a role player after his injury. But that just isn't who he saw himself as, and it wasn't who he could accept himself as on a basketball court. Obviously, for Zoe, didn't really have quite the heights that a Brandon Roy had, to where you had that superstar kind of path and potential. Zoe's all-around game may work in his favor in being able to carve out a role in being a similar player to what he was, just because he's not a high-flying, athletic kind of guy. His game isn't based on the drive and kick. So as long as he can keep the consistency with that jumper, his basketball IQ isn't going anywhere. So it would be easy to trick myself into getting high hopes in Zoe and Kobe and the remnants of the roster next season. Definitely sounds like a fun storyline, but at least for now, I'm just going to be happy for Zoe and the fact that he's getting back to feeling normal and being able to do things without hesitation. But besides that, I'm going to let the future do what it's going to do, because I'm not going to read too much into it.
Just let it play. It was the first time I ever heard Billy Donovan so confident while talking about him. Like, the pain that was ailing him before has now been eliminated, and he's in pain-free, and he's going to start running in January. It's like, wow, these are a lot of matter of facts, when for the last 2 years it's been, I'm just going to kind of see how he feels, and we don't really know. But now it was just like, this is what it is, which I was very happy to hear. Speaking of Billy, he talked about Zach as well. Zach's ramping up, could be coming back sooner rather than later here. They're going to reevaluate.
This whole Zach situation is jacked, because
it's jacked to the point where I have to be 100% honest with you, and I'm so sick. I don't give a fuck. I just have to be honest. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about this. I don't want him. I don't want him wearing a jersey for them again. There's no fucking reason for it. There's no reason for it at all. Not because they were playing better, but because he might come back, think he can fit in and win us some fucking games that are going to do absolutely nothing. Needs to go.
I guess for me, it's more like, it's just embarrassing, because you had your agency put all these things out there, tried to push this agenda, got all this extra media attention because of who you're represented by, and when that plan failed and not a single team in the NBA would offer enough value for you to the Bulls for them to feel comfortable in moving on from you, now you're going to be getting ramped up and coming back from this mysterious injury early, before that January 15th date that we were all kind of set on, anticipating there would be a deal lined up for. Him coming back just tells me there is no deal lined up. There isn't a deal that is going to be lined up, and the Bulls are stuck with Zach LaVine in this $40 million contract unless they want to take shit back, is essentially what this tells me. This
fucking sucks, doesn't it?
This doesn't tell me that Zach LaVine is happy and he's ready and he wants to be a part of the team again. This tells me that absolutely no team is going to trade for him, and Zach's agency has informed him that the Bulls are not going to move him for half a bag of chips, and he better get comfortable in Chicago.
He's got to start auditioning again, dude. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, what are you? Are you going to be that? Are you going to be that fucking, what is it? The 50, 40, 90 guy that we saw for a little tiny bit, or right on the cusp of it? Are you going to be that 25, 5 and 5 guy? Can you do that?
I mean, because if you can't, you're proving the point that everybody that was scared to trade for you during this hiatus was worried about, is the team that you're sitting out from was playing better basketball without you. And you make over like 25% of their salary cap per year. It's not a good look. So he has to come back, and he has to do it in a way to where this team wins, and he has to fit in and show that he can contribute to winning.
Well, because big reason I brought that up to you is because his buddy, DeJounte Murray. Did you see the new what is that website called? Bovada or something? That's a hashtag free ad. Bovada or something had like their betting odds were the most likely to acquire Murray was the Lakers. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, they were up there for LaVine for a little bit. I mean, now that
I think Murray is also represented by Clutch, so that isn't
is he?
surprising. I think so.
I gotta Google that. Let me see. That shit is so fucking annoying, man. It kind of is. You know, all right, Jamal, I'm Googling this live on the show. Give me a
live on
fucking
the
break.
show?
We don't have a stat guy. All right. What would that be? Agency, right? Yeah. Agency. Yeah, it is Clutch. Wow.
Yeah, told you.
You know what it just says on here too? Like when you fucking look at the screen, it just says Clutch Sports Group. Murray's agent is the extremely powerful Rich Paul.
The extremely powerful.
That's what it says on here. The extremely powerful.
Wow.
Man, fuck you, buddy. Your client's doing our city dirty, man. Come on.
Well, I mean, clearly they've moved on. Now they're pushing the Murray agenda to get him out of Atlanta. And they've moved on from Zach. Like I said, to me, that's exactly what this feels like, and that's probably what it is. Is Zach's agency has finally come back to him and been like, buddy, we did all the media spin we could do.
But he's sitting him down like he's their kid. Listen, bud, all right? You didn't get in. You know, like, it's tough to hear it.
It's tough to hear it. You got to swallow it. You make $40 million a year. Go be a professional. Try to show these teams what your value is and hope that you get traded before the deadline. Otherwise, sit pretty, smile, and hope that you can get traded in the offseason.
Yeah, offseason or draft night or something. I don't know.
You know, because, no, this has just been a disaster.
It's pretty fucking horrible. The whole situation for the Bulls.
Because the Bulls didn't get anything for Zach. They played just good enough to convince this fucking front office that they have a team and they've built a good roster and they can be competitive and they can win games. And granted, when you look at a team like Detroit, who got a number 1 overall pick in Cade Cunningham and has lost 28 games in a row, and you look at
this fucking close tonight, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate Detroit. You know that about me. I'm a very big division rival hater. But tonight I was like, oh my God, please. I'm like, please let this Cade Cunningham get a win here. He is carrying this team on his back. You know, they're not even playing Bagley over there.
No,
he's not getting any run at all. Nothing.
That doesn't surprise me.
It fucking wild shit, dude.
So no, I mean, when you look at the alternative and as easy it is to talk about tanking, you can also see why the front office is scared of that alternative, because it's a long, scary, shitty path.
Sure is, man. It sure is bad. But 28 games in a row bad that's
historic. It's historic.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Goose, there's no fucking way, and I'm no fucking way with the size that they have over there. They got some shooters over. They got some defensive guys over there. They've lost 28 in a row. There's no fucking way.
But I also have to say, I feel like this puts a pin in the whole the NBA is scripted narrative, because if the NBA was writing the script, there is no way they would let this team lose 28 games in a row. No way. They would have beat Boston tonight or something. Like, you would have had the underdog story of the year, the team that's lost 27 games in a row.
You make a good point. You make a good point. You're right. So maybe they are
with
that
the scripted
bad.
stuff.
I don't. Goose, 28 games in a row, though, man.
28 games. That's more than a fourth of a season. We're closing in on a third of a season that they're going to lose consecutively.
The fucking suckage is almost incomprehensible. Like, as a Detroit, we got to get a Detroit fan on here.
Was the last game they won against us? Was that it?
I think so. That was their second win of the season, wasn't it? And
that might be even more embarrassing. That Zach LaVine dropped a career high in points against a team that went on to lose 28 games in a row, but lost the game in which he set his career high in. How the fuck?
Because that's just our luck.
I think that just might be Zach LaVine.
Dang. You were a lover of Zach LaVine, who is now turned into a bitter rival.
To a bitter rival.
Of a once-loved foe.
This situation has turned me bitter. I'll give you that.
It's okay. It's all right. I have to eat my words every day on Patrick Williams right now because he 8 for 14 tonight, 20 points. I mean, he looked good. I hope the kid can keep it up.
Tonight was definitely one of those moments where it was like
rebounded after last game for sure.
After losing and kind of falling back to reality, it's like, you know what? Kobe's come back down, but Pat has taken it up a notch since Kobe's fallen off, and that's something I can live with because going forward, if we get our wish, and we flirt with losing 28 games in a row in the future here, Kobe and Pat might be the ones leading that 28 game losing streak. So
I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I'd be totally fine with that. Speaking of losing streaks, we might be walking into one. The Bulls will be preparing to take on the Philadelphia 76ers on the 30th, which is Saturday. They are going to be coming off a back-to-back against Houston. So they're playing tomorrow against Houston, then playing the Bulls on the 30th, and that's in Chicago. Then they play the 76ers again on the 2nd. Our next episode will either be Wednesday, January 3rd or January 5th, as I am going up to the North Woods for a little bit to, do some caveman shit, like cook outside on rocks and stuff and drink beer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know there's another reason too, but that's
yeah.
So there's lots of fun stuff up in the Northwoods.
There is, man. There's a lot of good stuff up in the Northwoods.
And you picked a good time to go on vacation because Zach LaVine might be coming back and the Bulls are losing again. So it's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine. Just leave because I don't want to talk about this shit.
Because I'm done talking about Zach LaVine, and now the Bulls suck again. So it's starting to get harder to do this again. We had a 35 games of glory. Now we've had a 13 games of glory, and now we're going to go back to reality. And
the 17 games of Kobe White shooting like fucking 50% from three was a fucking ride, man. It was a ride. It's very sad when this shit comes to an end and we're still here. We're still a constant.
Unfortunately, I think we will always be a constant, my friend.
We ain't going nowhere. Closing words before the new year, man. Because when we come back, it's episode 300, man. It's episode 300 when we come back.
You know what? I'm gonna say words that we haven't really got to say much, and that's Patrick Williams. Keep up the good play. Keep making me and Buzz eat our words. Earn that $20 million a year. I'm still laughing at that. But that's what I got. If the Bulls are going to revert back to this ugly style of basketball and not really being as watchable as we'd like them to be, I need Kobe White or Patrick Williams to be leading the charge. And then I can live with it. Otherwise, just trade everybody.
Trade everybody. Hit the tank. You already know. We'll see you guys next year. Thank you for joining us. Let's go Bulls.